Hello, this is an update of my man cave now as it appears on October 28th, 2022. The last time I did it was in May of 2021, so there have been some changes. And this one will be a little bit shorter video, and I'll just show some highlights of it, of what I've done with one of my favorite spots in my house. I've got some die-cast metal models here with some resin action figures which kind of, in a sense, animate the scene. I'll show you a few of those. This is the Queen Mary II, which is the name they gave for the 56 Cadillac Secret Service follow-up car that would follow the presidential limo, particularly Kennedy's limo. And then here's a 61 Lincoln Continental with these resin realistic figures. The Kennedys loved the new modern look of the Continentals that came out in 61, and Jackie had a white one. And then this is Dwight Eisenhower's 1953 Eldorado campaign Cadillac. It came in only one version, fully loaded, and cost almost $8,000 back in 1953. Beautiful car. This one's a Franklin Mint. No, a Danbury Mint model, and it's 1/16 scale, big, very well made. And I've made some information cards that I designed and printed out on my computer to put with some of these. If you're curious about this one, you can pause the video and read about it right here. That's my Titanic model ship that I built. It took me a year and a half. It's not completely done because I didn't put the masts in because they were too tall for the window. But I did drill out all the portholes and put in LED lighting, which I had to do myself. It wasn't an instruction manual. But I think it makes it look much nicer. And the bulbs burn cool and they last forever. And I had to paint it, hand paint everything. Took some time. This is the 1961 Lincoln Continental limo, the X100, Kennedy's limo, the one he was assassinated with, which is now on display, permanent display in the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan. After they remodeled it, after his assassination, they re-armored it, put a non-removable bulletproof top on it, and more powerful engine, and so on. I wish they would have left it the way it had been because it was a historical car, and it would have been nice to just keep it intact and just get another limo. But the Kennedy assassination limo, the way it looked, I have here is a nice, large, highly detailed resin 1/18th scale limo. This is how it looked before the assassination, right up and through the assassination. I put some action figures around it, and you should recognize it. It's the one you see in the Zapruder film. And I even put some small miniature paper roses that I ordered online and put them in the back seat where Kennedy had been seated. And they're similar to the roses Jackie was given when they arrived at Love Field in Dallas that fateful day. And I've got different figures here. And then here's the info card about it. I mean, again, if you're interested, you can just pause it here and you can read what it says. It's a favorite of mine, a 53 Buick Skylark. Oh, beautiful car. Look at that toothy chrome grille. Isn't that beautiful? Boy, what a nice car. If I can get it to focus there. Hey, temperamental camera. Well, there we go. Has the Kelsey Hayes wire wheels and so on. Very nice. And then this is a 1931 Ford Model A. My stepdad had one. He'd restored, and his children, we'd go on Sunday drives in it. It had the Auga horn, and it's a great car. 1931 Ford Model A. And then below it is the Bugatti, the 1931 Bugatti Royale Coupe de Ville. An expensive car. There's only 6 left. They made 7. One was destroyed in a wreck, and 6 remaining, very rare. And one sold for $19 million at auction. This is a Franklin Mint version, big model. Has wood and leather carpeting in it. I mean, it's beautifully done, as you can see. And I've taken good care of it. It's a really nice model. As you can see, look at it here. These two models together. And that's the info card about it that I made. It tells you all about it. This metal die-cast 1/18 scale 1962 Ferrari GTO I bought back in the 80s and just put it out on display in my consultation room office when I ran my photography business out of my home here. It's made by Barago in Italy. They still make them. But this one is an early version of it. And much to my surprise, as I researched it recently, I found that this particular one is trading on the internet for between $1,500 and $1,700. This model, unbelievable. It's well made, metal, detailed, and it's really nice. I think one of these, I believe, sold at auction, a real one, for $40 million. Can you believe it? 1962 Ferrari GTO V12 engine in it. My late stepdad also had a 1949 Ford. Very much like this one, except his was a hardtop 2-door. And I put some figures, resin figures, that match the scale of the car. And I love its bullet nose grill. They made it like that in 1949 when it came out in 50, and then in 50 and 51 and 52 it had a double bullet nose. Really good looking car. So we had something like that in our family also, along with the 31 Ford Model A. Boy, wish I could get this thing to focus. That's a gift from my cousin Steve. These meditation metal balls with this chiming sound in them. I don't know if you can hear them. And you just roll them around in your hand, and it's just for relaxation. Really nice. I still got them, Steve. My cousin Steve. Of course, I have my reel-to-reel collection, which I also refurbish. This TX A6300 from about 1975. It didn't need a whole lot of work, but I restored it. And then I ordered some custom reels from a guy named John Ferrar in Pennsylvania. He designed them, and then he makes them for you. And these are burnished aluminum reels. They have to be aluminum. They can't be magnetic, because it'll affect it. Magnetic tape that's wrapped around them. And then this is probably the best deck I've got. It's an Akai GX 636, and it is. I bought this in the mid-1990s for $250 at a pawn shop, and it's now worth probably $2,500. Not going to sell it. And I saw this advertised on Craigslist for $100. So Some guy in Dayton, Ohio, retired Air Force man, was selling it. I inquired by calling. His daughter answered and told him I was interested. And she asked when I'd want to come, and I said right now. So I drove an hour and a half, got there. He sold it to me for $100. He never used it because he bought it when he was in the service station in Tokyo, and he bought it at the commissary, got it cheap, but he never used it. So it's basically brand new. It just was gummed up a little, so I cleaned it. It works great. It's beautiful. It looks brand new. It's the Titanic X1000R. That's a wonderful, wonderful deck. So those are three of them I have on display here, as you can see. And this beauty is from 1969, the Titanic A6010. I got it really cheap on eBay. I think I paid like, I don't know, about $50 for it. Excellent condition. So I got some much coveted Akai burnished aluminum reels. Back in the day they cost about $12 each. Now they cost about $100 each. But it really sets the deck off. And it's got all its options. You know, it has the wired remote, a wired pause control, and a wired auto reverse mechanism. So you never have to flip the tape over. It just goes into auto reverse. That is a beautiful deck, and it sounds great. And as you can see, I've got an A4010S, one of the first ones that were sold in the United States by Titanic in 1965. That one, custom-made wheels on it again, which I designed. And it's hard to see there because the walkie-talkies are in the front of it. This is the 1975 Titanic A3340, which is a true 4-track multi-tracker and a quadraphonic deck. Inside of it, when I opened it up, it was the cleanest deck I've ever seen. It looked brand new. It was owned by a recording studio, so they took good care of it, and I didn't have to do much to it. I paid, I think, $35. I just got this unbelievable deal. There's a Titanic equalizer, and an Elisa's compressor. And then here's some of my quadraphonic equipment. This is a Lafayette LA84, which was the last quadraphonic amp they made. You may recall Lafayette was a big name in consumer electronics, and they really pushed quadraphonic sound and CB radios. And a JVC deck, and this beautiful Cadillac of receivers, the Marantz 40-30 receiver. Isn't that beautiful? It's a true quad deck, really nice. And below that, a JVC multi-disc CD player. And this one I've got hooked up to 4 speakers. It's an amp and receiver. And then the Lafayette I've got hooked up to 4 different speakers, and 8 total, but it gives an incredible quadraphonic performance when I run tapes through this, including some custom tapes I ordered from a musician in Florida who really mixed his stuff in good quad sound. And this takes, it can run at 7.5 inches a second or 15 inches a second, which is, with analog, the faster the tape runs, the better it sounds. And this sounds fabulous. Yep, and it holds 10.5 or 7-inch reels. Of course, speaking of music, you can preserve it on tape or you can play it, and I like to play bass. And this is my 2017 model Rickenbacker 4003S. I got a good deal during the pandemic because Rickenbacker does not negotiate on pricing, but during the pandemic, well, that was a different story. With the Sam Ash Music, I bought it from in Orlando, Florida. It's a beautiful guitar. It's not a clone like a Chinese Rickenbacker, known as a chickenbacker. This is the real deal, made in the USA. You can see quality craftsmanship. And of course, the famous Rickenbacker logo. That's a serious guitar, one of my favorites. And I think a total of 8 different bases. Another one is one I never even knew existed that I got real cheap during the pandemic from a store in South Korea. It took me 2-3 months to get it, but it's a Dean 12-string bass guitar. It has 4 root strings, as you can see, and double octaves on each root string, as you can see there with my model cars, Franklin Mint and Danbury Mint model cars in the background. But that's the Dean 12-string electric bass. And this, I have this Fender designed Squier Stratocaster. You see Eric Clapton and others play it, and it's designed by Fender. It's just a lower cost version of it, but it's essentially the same guitar. I bought this at a pawn shop. It's in like new condition. I paid $68 for it. Can you believe it? It's unbelievable. Of course, I have my gun collection. Civil War and Old West, 1878 Winchester. There, the gun identical to the one John Wilkes Booth used to assassinate this man, President Lincoln. A popular gun with the Confederates and the North. Personal Derringer. Sharps, a rifle. There's also the carbine, which was shorter. Ammunition from Appomattox, Virginia. U.S. and Confederate state belt buckles, the actual bayonet for this gun, genuine bayonet. The Lamat revolver, not a practical gun, but a powerful double-barrel revolver that was used by mostly by the South. And this beautiful gold and nickel presentation percussion revolver is really an officer's presentation revolver. Beautiful, isn't it? And then, of course, I've got some more here, which includes this is a Franklin Mint non-firing replica of Wyatt Earp's .44 revolver, and a .357 Magnum with scope. My dad bequeathed me his Winchester Golden Spike commemorative .30-30 rifle. Never been fired. He bought it in 1969. Gold plating on it, walnut stock. Probably one of the best rifles ever made, the Winchester. Just a great rifle. And then, of course, I've got a Taurus 9mm with laser sight, which is basically a hand cannon, the Desert Eagle pistol, and there's the info on it. If you want to read it, you can just pause the video and I'll tell you about it. I printed it up. And a copy of George Washington's, this is a non-firing replica. It's hard to see his cap and ball gun. I know it's hard to see with the iris on this thing adjusting. And then finally, my CB collection and amateur radio collection, including my Lafayette Telsat 924, first base station I ever had. Still works, still got it. If I can get it to focus. An Astron power supply, my Cobra 142 GTL, which has barely been tweaked because it puts out about 70 watts PEP on sideband. 2 mobile units, including my last mobile on the right, the Cobra 77 40-channel units. My first mobile unit, a Lafayette Micro 723 on the top. Below it, an ICOM IC R71A communications receiver from the late 1980s. Still works great. And, of course, my D104 microphone. And my radio info. Picture of my sweetheart Lori, who went to be with the Lord in July 2018. I miss her so much, 39 years. And then finally, my current radios, my Yaesu FT1000MP and my Ranger 2995DX, which is the one I talked to this fellow named Andy Tobin the other day on. And some more mics. And that's it. And my MFJ Cantana tuner. So I hope you enjoyed this updated tour. If you have any questions, you can always ask me in the response area on YouTube. All right. Thank you very much. And that's my man cave for October 2022. Have a good one.